So it's great to speak today with Ben Clark, Northern European Market Manager at COROS Wearables. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on board.
Well, thanks for coming. So where in the world are you at the moment?
Well, I'm based in Lisbon at the moment. I'm just sort of traveling around Portugal and Spain. It's nice and sunny here, and no lockdown, or very no lockdown restrictions. So
That's nice.
slightly sunnier than being in the UK, I'm sure.
So you're originally normally based in the UK, yeah?
That's right. Yeah, so I'm based in Exeter, which is obviously down by the south, near Devon, Cornwall. Nice and sunny. Probably not today though. I'm sure. Sometimes, maybe like 10 days of the year. But yeah.
And so maybe can you tell us a little bit about you and your background? That would be a helpful starter.
Yeah, sure. So as I said, I'm based in Exeter, and I just graduated from university there, and so I got myself a graduate job at Garmin. They're based in Southampton, so I went and worked for them for a while, and then sort of got promoted into a role as their product manager for Garmin Pay, and so sort of navigated myself through the payment technology world. And really enjoyed that and met some really cool people. And then sort of towards Christmas time last year, early the year, I sort of transitioned into the role with COROS. Started as their UK market manager and then moved into the Northern European market manager, where I manage UK and Ireland, Benelux and also Scandinavia. So it's been quite an impressive journey so far. I've had a lot of fun and I'm sure it's only going to get better.
Yeah. So I'd imagine being with COROS is a little bit different because obviously it's still a big company, but Garmin is clearly a very big company. So yeah, how have the cultures been in terms of differences or maybe some similarities?
Absolutely. So, well, I think Garmin's a massive company, and obviously they've got a lot more product lines than what COROS has. And COROS sort of focuses more on the wearables aspect. But there are similarities. But obviously, I would say many more differences. I mean, COROS isn't a small company by any means. We've got offices in pretty much every continent in the world. We've got our Chinese offices and our manufacturing plants based over there. We've got our offices in the US. We've got an office in the Netherlands as well. And obviously, we've got distributors in pretty much every country in the world. So we're doing quite big. We're not quite the size of Garmin yet, but we'll see. We'll see this time next year. But no, we're going well. We're making good speed.
Yeah, so could you maybe talk us through the positioning of COROS products? Because you mentioned you're more on the wearable side, you're much more it's a watch company, and maybe talk through how those products have evolved over the recent years.
Sure. So I think the fundamental thing is that COROS make multi-sport GPS watches. So we make watches which are designed by performance athletes, and these are things which focus on things like battery life and performance features, your pulse ox, your heart rate, your step goals, and everything like that, distance, time, and pace. And I think the sort of differentiation between COROS and let's take Garmin for example, and Polar and Apple is that COROS makes performance watches, which are very different to lifestyle watches, which might include things like a wallet and music. And even notifications to tell you that your Uber is just around the corner. These are all great features in the boardroom, I'm sure, but not really needed when you're, doing the Grand Round or you're doing going up Ben Nevis or Snowdon or anything like that. So we focus on the performance aspects, which are the pulse ox and the longer battery life. But we also sort of focus more on the end user, and I think because we have a slightly smaller product niche in that we're kind of aiming to be the best in ultra running. We make the watch which is designed specifically for the ultra runner in mind. So it's what do they need? They need battery life and they need performance features, and we can provide that to them in a very well and valuable product. In terms of value for money, but there's no features on there which would be of no use to them, like a wallet, for example.
Right, got you. So would you go with optical wrist-based heart rate measurement, or would you favour the strap from a kind of accuracy perspective?
I mean, in terms of accuracy, that a chest strap is always going to be more accurate than in optical heart rate for wrist-based, and there's so many reasons for that. It could be you've got tattoos, or you've got sweat, or the band around the arm isn't strong, isn't tight enough, and these are all factors that can have an impact on heart rate accuracy. Chest rate is always a little bit more accurate, and obviously there's no delay there either. But for most people who aren't doing, Olympic training, the heart rate on the wrist-based is by far very, very useful for them, and good enough, with only a small discrepancy between that of the actual heart rate from the chest strap. But I think for serious trainers, people who are competing for going for gold and that sort of thing, then having a chest strap is very useful. But obviously, all chest straps linked to all watches, so no one's done badly there. You can always just link anything by and plus or Bluetooth.
Yeah. So in terms of going for gold, it's a kind of nice cheesy link in, but I suppose Eliud Kipchoge. So that was going to be very big news for your brand. So you signed Kipchoge, the marathon world record holder, and also the NN running team, which Kipchoge is a part. I mean, as I say, it does seem like a really big deal for you guys. Can you maybe talk us through how it came about, and also what your aspirations are for the future with this new relationship with these guys as ambassadors?
Mm-hmm. Well, absolutely. So it's been a really busy week. That's for sure. And the phone hasn't stopped ringing all the week. And so obviously a massive achievement for COROS and all of our teams around the world. And I think it shows that COROS, if people weren't listening to us before, they definitely will be now. And obviously having Eliud on board just sort of goes to show how far we will go to obviously show. That we are, serious players in this industry, and it certainly is that David and Goliath situation where we are going up against some of the biggest brands in the world, and showing that we can obviously compete at that level as well. So obviously Eliud has joined our pro athlete team, and this is sort of coupled with people like Hayden Hawks and Des Linden, and Harry Jones and John Kelly based in the UK. So it's great to have them on board. And the sort of aspirations going forward, I'll try not to say too much because obviously it's still under wraps, but there are lots of exciting things that we're working on. And so I can't say too much about it at the moment, but I think the idea is that we can grow the team with like-minded athletes. And I think, Eliud and the team, their philosophy is very similar to COROS, isn't it? We want to work together to basically be the best that we can be.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you're not going to answer this question either, but the value of the sponsorship deal, is it something you're able to disclose? Because it wasn't in the release, but it would be always nice to know what the value might be. But again, if you can't say, don't worry.
Well, I think it's not really something that we'd like to discuss. But what I can say, and what is quite great to say, is the fact that we know that Eliud is very happy with our products, and was using them before any partnership came about, and that that really speaks volumes to the products and the brand as well. That even without anything exchanging hands, athletes still want to work with COROS on the basis that our products are really good.
Yeah. So in terms of the phone calls you've been getting, obviously there's the dealer side of things, there's customers. Are you getting other elite athletes getting in touch? Because as you say, you've definitely raised your head above the parapet. And if I were a pro athlete, I might be thinking, oh, is it worth getting in touch with COROS? Is that something you're seeing or might expect to see going forwards?
Absolutely. I think mainly it's been a case of we've reached out to athletes, just because obviously COROS is relatively new to market in terms of our watches. So it was 2018 that our watches first came out. So we've really been doing a lot of reaching out. But in the past sort of couple of months, and especially since earlier in the week with Kipchoge, we have had a lot of people reaching out, and we have different tiers of ambassador teams in the UK and obviously also across the world, and people straight from small Instagram accounts, small ambassadors, reaching out all the way up through to people that would be considered as pro athletes, and that's obviously been great. And it's not going to stop there. We're going to keep going. until we've got everybody on board. But yeah, it's a very exciting time to be a part of COROS, and lots more exciting things coming on board soon in the next couple of weeks as well, which will all be revealed soon. So it's very exciting time to be a part.
Cool. Watch this space then, definitely. Okay.
Watch this space, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure that there are plenty of activations you can do with Kipchoge and the NN team, and as well as obviously the other athletes that you've got. So no teasers coming just yet, or we'll obviously have to wait.
Well, we'll have to wait. Yeah, it'll be in your inbox at some point. Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out. Okay, so kind of just got one final question, and maybe sort of spend a little bit of time on this one, is around the wearable space. So we get a sense that, you know, within our endurance biz site, we do keep an eye on obviously sports tech in particular, and it really does seem that a number of innovative wearables are coming and breaking through. So we've just seen we interviewed Phil Sutherland recently from Super Sapiens with the glucose monitoring device that they have. We've seen obviously Wahoo enter the watch space with their new watch, and obviously you've got the likes of Garmin and Polar that you've mentioned. So I suppose it'd be really interesting to get your views on how you see the wearables sector in particular evolving over the coming 12 months.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think, we need to first of all distinguish the fact that, the wearables industry is made up of two main subsectors, and that is lifestyle, which is your Apple Watches and all your Apple features and things like the Garmin Vivo Active and the Garmin Venue and that sort of thing. It's a lifestyle sort of watch. It's for people who are sort of in the boardroom all day, that sort of thing. Yeah, and then we've also got exactly, and then the more performance aspect, which is things like, as you mentioned, glucose, Nerve with their training insoles, and obviously COROS as well, which is since 2018. That's sort of ticking up. But I think going forward, it's this idea, and I don't agree with this idea, but it's the idea that everything on your phone needs to be on your watch. And I think if we move away from that idea, then I think we can get some more innovation, because certainly looking at a lot of the smaller watch brands which are popping up in the lifestyle sector, they are effectively just replicating each other at the moment. And it's putting everything that's on your phone onto your wrist. But I think, certainly speaking to a lot of our customers, we find that people don't really use a wallet on their watch. They don't really use music on their watch. They mostly take their phone with them when they go for a run. So there's no real reason that they would have these lifestyle features. And then of course that comes at cost. It comes at the cost of cost, and also of battery life as well. And I think where COROS does really well is that we do the basics very, very well, and we provide our athletes, or even say the ultra running community, with a tool which is just exactly what they need. It's all the basics. It's battery life. It's really easy to use, and I think that's where the sustainability there is there, and that's going to be the survival of COROS, I think, because we are doing the basics. We're not providing people with loads of features which they're not going to use, which obviously comes at a different cost point. But in terms of where I see the industry going, obviously, as we look towards the future, certainly since I've been in this job since March, we've seen the ultra running community, grow, exponentially, and also with more cycling, and the government's recently green news pack about cars changing to electric and everybody moving towards cycling and cycling upticking in cities. People are becoming fitter, and people are working more towards using their watches for different sports purposes. I think we're going to see more of the performance focused brands doing slightly a little bit better than the lifestyle watch brands. But it's a very exciting time to be in, and obviously wearables isn't just watches. It's also hearables. It's eyesight. It's also microchips in fingers, and using that for payment technology, and it's an incredibly exciting exciting industry to be a part of. Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing. very
So
happy.
do you foresee on the performance end, because obviously you mentioned that COROS, and Garmin and Polar and Wahoo have products at the performance end. Do you foresee more integrations, as you say? You mentioned Nerve. We spoke about Super Sapiens, where those performance wearables would then be speaking with a device, because clearly for someone like Super Sapiens or others, there would be a need to either, as you say, communicate with a phone or perhaps with a watch. So do you foresee those kinds of integrations being a bit more where the likes of COROS and other performance orientated brands go?
Yeah, well, of course, direct integrations are preferential, and ideally, it would be as simple as one brand would connect to all these other brands really simple. It's obviously not that easy, but I do think that would be the way that we're going. I'm sure the real winner in all of this would be a sports brand which provides the basics and integrates into every third-party app, which could then be used by anybody in their rightful field. So, for example, an ultra runner could use Nerve's insoles, and they could use their glucose, and they could track, how many calories they're putting into their bodies whilst they're running, whether that's with a barcode scanner or whatever. But I think that's the real winner. And to bring it back to COROS, if I may, it's providing the most basic tools in the best package, without all the non-useless tools. And I think obviously because we can provide a watch to an ultra runner, they have got the tools that they need exclusively for that activity, and they haven't really got something which maybe they would take to the Ritz and show off. They may have their Rolex for that reason, but we like to have something exclusively for that task.
Fantastic. Okay, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I look forward to seeing the new releases and the announcements. That's going to be intriguing to see how things evolve. But yeah, certainly wish you all the very best for the future. Look forward to keeping in touch, and thanks ever so much for your time.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, cheers. Take care, Ben. Bye.
Bye-bye.